Hey there, race fans. I'm your friend Todd Brown of That Racing Show. Now, with Dale Jr. getting back in the car this week at the Racetrack Revival, I figured it would be a great time to share a piece with you that I did with Dale Jr. several years ago for Nationwide. Also figured it would be a great time to revive the old General Motors work shirt that I used to wear back in the 90s. It's a shirt typical of what Dale Jr. wore at his dad's dealership, so it only seemed fitting. Now, I'm coming to you here from my deck where I typically watch the race because it's a great, beautiful day here in Concord, North Carolina. So I figured, why not grab a cold beer and share a story with you and have some fun with it. So I'm going to share the piece with you, and at the end of it, I'm going to tell you some of the behind the scenes and some of the fun that went into it. So I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, I think the most favorite race moment with Dale Jr. would be the first race he won in the Nationwide and the Cup Series, which I think both of them were at Texas. Dale Sr.'s love towards Dale Jr., it's just unbelievable. You know, it'd bring a tear to your eye just like it's about to do me now.
I want to say the Daytona 500 this last year, but Martinsville was actually a little bit more fun. The boys were so excited, and Dale's reaction afterwards, jumping up and down on the stage, the clock almost falling over, was just so neat to watch.
I'm going to a non-points race. It would be an IROC race in Michigan, where last lap, father and son are running for the win.
Son and father touch coming down.
And they win by a bumper. And just the excitement of that race and what it meant for being a close family member, it was pretty exciting.
And the crowd still cannot believe what they saw.
The 2000 Winston All-Star race, that was the one thing that really has always stayed out in my mind, because it was kind of the day that Dale Sr. knew he was passing down a torch to Junior.
The next generation of NASCAR superstar.
Even if you weren't a Junior fan at that time, you still felt that emotion seeing the familyness in there.
Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, it was a great moment for me. A lot of fun to do. Actually, probably the funnest race spot I've ever done in my life. For anybody who doesn't know me, I come from a racing background, a racing family. My dad was a driver. I was a driver for many years. After that, worked on many different teams, and have just stayed involved with racing it one way or another all through my life, basically. And outside of that, I'm a full-time actor, which has allowed me to do a lot of great things. And one of the best things that I get to do because of my agency is racing commercials and being around different drivers and aspects of that. I've worked on countless racing commercials through the years. I usually do a rear tire changer. You probably see me so many times on commercials, but didn't realize it because I'm in full gear changing a rear tire. Outside of that, I've done many years as a body / I guess you could call it stunt double for different drivers. And particularly, I've done a lot for Martin Truex. Also done Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, Daniel Suarez, just different drivers. So I've had a history with a lot of these guys, being them when they weren't there, basically, is what it comes down to. Which in one episode here in the future, I want to discuss this more and tell a little bit more about that. But it brings me back to the point of this spot here, because it's one that I actually got to do as me. Usually when I do commercials, it's scripted, and everything about it is already predetermined, so you don't get to do what you want to do. And with this spot, I got to be me, because I truly have been a Dale Jr. fan for a long time. I can remember back to when the beginning days of Junior first getting in a go-kart. I was racing karts at the time, and I used to race against NASCAR spotter Mike Herman Jr. practically every week. And for anybody that knows Mike, knows that his dad, Mike Sr., was a big part of Dale Sr.'s career, especially back in the Wrangler days. And so there was talk at the racetrack back then about Dale Jr. getting in a go-kart. And at the time, this is probably the mid to late 80s, you know, you just, you didn't know what was going to become of him. And then one night I got to see him in the Legends car on the dirt track. And that was the night that I kind of realized that maybe there was something, you know, there's something to this guy and he was going to be something. And from that point on, you know, I kept up with him. And outside of that, my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, grew up with Kerry, and they've been best friends for years. And my brother-in-law Jeff, worked on Kerry's teams for many, many years. And just got to see the growth of all of them through the years. And I can remember many times going to the beach and Junior coming back from, I believe it was Florence that he raced then, to get ready to go to Myrtle Beach the next night. So I had a lot of respect for him coming up through. And as I say, with this piece, I got to be me. I did have to audition for a spot, but they were looking for somebody in racing who was truly a knowledge base of what was going on. And thankfully, I got the spot. Now, with that said, I'm going to show you here a piece of what I looked like then, because I was not prepared for what was going to happen with it. At the time, I had a pretty decent beard going on, and hadn't seen my chin in 19 years, and was cast with the beard. And then when I got to the set at Charlotte Motor Speedway, I had to quickly shave it all off. And this was, I think, in late January at Charlotte Motor Speedway in about 35-degree weather when it was raining, so my face was in shock. But I had one of the greatest moments with it. So let me just share a little piece here of the audition. Todd Brown, Concord, North Carolina. Going to NASCAR events since 1981, it's really hard to put a number on it. I've been anywhere from short tracks, even retired short tracks such as North Wilkesboro, to the super speedways. Of course, you had to have the Budweiser jacket for those cold nights. And one of my favorite pieces, which anybody who knows Dale Jr. has followed him through the years, knows he used to have a club in his basement when he lived in a house across from DEI, and he called it Club E. He also named his fan club that, which I have the official Club E t-shirt from 2002, which, as you can tell, has been worn quite a bit. So with that, this is one of the things that I love about Dale Jr. because we've all progressed and grown and changed through the years, and that's one thing about Junior is he's such an asset to racing. I mean, you look at so many drivers who retire and get out of the car and kind of disappear from the sport. You really don't hear from them that much. You don't see them that much. But Junior has a lifelong, profound love of racing that keeps him in the booth, keeps him as a car owner, just keeps him active and involved. I would dare say he's probably maybe even more popular now than he even was then, which I think is amazing. So I love the fact that he's going back to his racing roots and contributing to the future by bringing in new drivers and giving them opportunities. Because if you look at the history, there's a lot of guys who went through Junior's late models, the Xfinity team, to become prominent racers across the country and in the Xfinity and Cup Series. And that goes back to Dale Jr. And I think that's commendable. And I love the fact that he's still getting out there, because there's a lot of fans who are new to NASCAR. I see it all the time on the message boards. People that are just becoming familiar with racing, so I'm glad they're getting an opportunity to see him still race and just see everything about him. So with that said, I just want to say good luck to you this weekend, Dale Jr., and I hope everybody has a great time at the race, and we'll see you at the checkered flag.